Well, I think that Sea Rose has a moment of that sort of assertiveness and conviction, almost arrogance it seems in the moment when my favorite moment in the poem was when you get to single on a stem, you are caught in the drift. Because it's almost like the poet is telling you as a reader, now you're caught here in the middle of my poem. Yes. You're caught in the drift of my form, and now you have to go through with it. And I just thought that was so great. That was my favorite part of the poem. Or just that move was my favorite move.
Yeah. You were caught in the drift of a reader. And again, it's like manners. Form is like manners. It's like at that point she understands so well that you want to listen to her that she can say that.
Sea Rose is somewhat very harsh, I believe. I don't know.
The whole thing is about that this is not a pretty flower.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
So when I look at the form like this, I suppose it softens the poem at some points, and that's what makes Sea Rose somewhat interesting to me, to be talking about something as not a pretty rose, as what you say, but then also at the same time it maintains its daintiness and its mortality through the form and the structure of the poem.
Yes. Yeah, and that again, that is H.D. as very consciously a modernist writer, taking the word rose, which is in some ways the poem word, or certainly it's one of the 10 words that are poem words, and she takes it, and by making it a sea rose, which is not really a rose at all, she makes it fresh, acrid, violent, defiant, and beautiful, but in a different formal way.
Yeah, it seems like H.D. is, in this poem, is speaking so much about the poem itself and the making of the poem. You know, just as you say, you know, this is a different kind of poetic rose. This is a new kind of rose, right? And the form is different. And maybe it is a little harsh and jarring, you know, and not as melodic as an iambic pentameter expression of a rose. But then she allows us to find the beauty in it, right? As Yvonne is kind of pointing to.
Hardened in a leaf, the last words in the poem. Hardened in a leaf. And it's one of the things that Pound and the Imagists and Williams, hard edges, not soft, mushy, 19th century Georgian or Victorian or pre-Raphaelite image, but hard. Hard edges, a hard leaf.
Yeah, she chose a really good subject for that, the more I think about it.
Yeah.
Very handy. Very tough plant, right? And doesn't it smell good?
Super hardy, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the verb chose is appropriate.
Yeah, the imagery in this actually reminds me a lot of, I don't know if any of you guys saw Dale Chihuly's glass-blown art at the MFA a couple of years ago, but I was just imagining that type of sharp-edged art piece as this rose. And it's very, very beautiful, but you know, as a natural flower, to find that in nature would be jarring and uncomfortable.
Yeah. She goes from meager and sparse to crisp and hard. Glass is hard. In some ways, she's the opposite kind of artist from Chihuly too, because he's so flamboyant and everything's going more and more and more color and more of this. And she's saying crisp, hard, acrid.